So I'm going to put it in summary. Ne? I'm not going to write full information and then explain what I want to know. Our main focus is what? It's on commitment and compromise. So I'm going to talk about commitment and compromise. So I'm not going to talk much about content that is irrelevant. That's why when you see on the rise of Nelson Mandela, I started in 1990 strictly because this essay is between 1990 and 1994. And on 11 February 1990, F.W. de Klerk released Nelson Mandela. But now we're on second paragraph. Now in 1990, in May 1990, ANC led by Nelson Mandela and NP led by F.W. de Klerk met in Cape Town, Groote Schuur. So when they met in Groote Schuur, now we are going to talk about the compromise. Ne? Agree? We said compromise is what? It's agreement. So when they meet in Groote Schuur, now they have what? They have agreements. So now we are going to look at these agreements and understand that those agreements are compromise. Now we will be linking back to the question. Now, what did they agree on in Groote Schuur? So in May 1990, ANC led by Nelson Mandela and NP led by F.W. de Klerk met in Cape Town, Groote Schuur. ANC. So now to make it make sense, because we say the word compromise, it's what? It's agreement. Now we're going to say ANC compromised, ne? Compromised. ANC compromised to end violence. To end violence. ANC compromised, or ANC agreed to end violence. So when they met in Groote Schuur, ANC agreed to end violence. So now you see the word compromise. Now the word compromise comes from the question. Now we have it in our paragraph. Even if you say ANC agreed to end violence, when the teacher is marking, they're going to understand that compromise is what? It's agreement. Now ANC compromised to end violence by bofa, but boa. So when they compromised to end violence, and then now NP, now let us not repeat the word compromise. We're going to say NP agreed, because we know the word compromise means what? Agree. NP agreed to release more political prisoners. Ne? Now NP agrees to do what? To release more political prisoners, and the release did not just start immediately, and the release started in September 1990. So the release did not start immediately. It started when? Later on in September 1990. Ne? So that was not only the agreement. NP also agreed to revoke separate amenities Act. If you remember the Separate Amenities Act, it was an act or a law that did not allow blacks and whites to use the same facilities. So this law was going to be revoked by who? By the NP. Now we are done with your paragraph. And if you check on your paragraph, the word agreed, the word compromise comes back to our question, meaning you have sustained your line of argument. You don't have to paste. Most learners, they take this statement and then paste it at the end, which is wrong. You need to be creative. Us as teachers, we know that when you write like this, you are sustaining what? Line of argument. So now you see how you go about your essay. You must be very, very creative. to understand what to write. Now let us move to the third paragraph, which I'm going to end on the third paragraph. Now I'm not going to go to violences, but one thing that I want you guys to understand, when we're talking about minutes, we're talking about 2 minutes same time, 2 minutes, first minute, second minute, ne? And which makes what 2 minutes, meaning Groote Schuur and Pretoria minutes, they come after each other. But when we go to CODESA, we're going to take, we have what CODESA 1, and then we have whites only referendum, CODESA 2. We don't have CODESA 1 and CODESA 2 same time. No, we have CODESA 1, whites only referendum, CODESA 2. But when it comes to minutes, we have 2 minutes same time. Groote Schuur, Pretoria minutes. Now let us go to third paragraph. So let me just create a space here so that at least we understand where we are going. And then after this question, I'm going to go back to and then give you another question that will make you understand what to write. So how you sustain line of argument, whether it's black consciousness, whether it's the road to democracy, whether it's a Vietnam War, you sustain line of argument the same way. You must be able to go back to the question. That the reason you're not getting higher marks is because you don't go back to the question. You always write introduction using the question and not sustain line of argument, and then you get 23 marks. Okay. Now let us go to Pretoria. Now we're going to Pretoria. Now we're going where I am now. We're going to Pretoria. Sharp. Now when we get to Pretoria minutes, one thing that you need to understand, learners, the same political organizations that met in Groote Schuur, they are also the organizations that are going to meet in Pretoria. So how you write your essay, your paragraph, you can start it the same way you started with the first paragraph. In August 1990, NP led by. Okay, let me just open here so that we are able to see the other part of our essay. So in August 1990, NP led by FW de Klerk met with the ANC led by Nelson Mandela. So in August 1990, NP led by FW de Klerk met with the ANC led by Nelson Mandela. Ne? Sharp. So now after we were just highlighted, where did they meet? Ne? The meeting was held in Pretoria. Ne? Was held in Pretoria. Now when we write this, we are just giving back the content. Now you need to sustain line of argument. I said we're going to talk about commitment. Commitment is what? It's responsibility, and then compromise is what? It's agreement. Now we're going to look at the agreements that they had here, because our essay focuses on what? On compromise and commitment. Now, okay, sharp. ANC agreed or compromised to suspend armed to suspend armed struggle, and